Assalamualaikum and hi guys. Today, my team want to discuss about the overpopulation in the world. How overpopulation can give adverse impact for our world. So, my name is Ijan and my members' name is Ain, Ari, Nisa, Mia and Sarah. Today, I want to introduce about the overpopulation. According to Cambridge Dictionary, overpopulation is one of the country have a pressing social problem. People are dying because of the overpopulation, poverty and disease. Overpopulation refers to a population which exceeds its sustainable size within a particular environment or habitat. Overpopulation results from an increased birth rates, decreased death rates, and immigration to a new ecological niche with a fewer predators. We can see from the trends of the population in the world. For world, we have 7.8 billion people in the world. That population is increased years by years. Almost 70% the population is come from 20 most country populous in Malaysia. But we have two countries have a more population in the world. This is example China and India. For Malaysia, the estimate of population is 32.6 million in 2019. This is we can see compared to 2018 is from 32.4 millions. This increase of the population can give adverse impact to our country. So the question is how to tackle the overpopulation and why and what the issue and the cause. So the last question is how the government can use the system to change the overpopulation. Let's go and discuss about it.
This industrial revolution have brought about a flurry of technological advancement, and perhaps this is the biggest reason why today's population equilibrium get disrupted. The advancement of technology enables humans to produce better means of producing food, hence allowing families to feed more mouths. Technology allows humans to increase food production using fertilizer, herbicide and pesticide. More access to food leads to subsequent population explosion. Technological advancement also provide a better medical facilities that helps in decline the death rate. These new discoveries are providing solutions to overcome a wide range of diseases, such as providing the invention of vaccines and discovery of antibiotics such as penicillin. Thus, as the number of annual deaths fell, the births remain constant and the population increased. Overpopulation occur. Besides the possible for couples who are unable to conceive to undergo fertility treatment methods and have their own baby done by the technological advancement. Not only the technological advancement, but the poverty also roots of the overpopulation. This is because most developing nations have a large number of people who are illiterate, live below the poverty line, and have a little or no knowledge about the family planning. Getting their marriage at an early age increase the chance to produce more kids. Poor planning on both partners can be cause to unexpected pregnancy. Immigration also parts of the overpopulation. Unchecked immigration into countries may lead to overpopulation to the point where those countries no longer require resources for their population. This is particularly problematic in countries where immigration numbers are exceeding emigration number. In some cases, emigration may be attempting to escape the overpopulation cases in their own country but bring the cases to the country they move. They preferable to move maybe because the facility provided, such as in terms of the educational and medical. Child labor also part of the overpopulation. Child labor is still in practice extensively in many parts of the world. Based on UNICEF, approximately 150 million children are currently working in countries having few children's labor low. The children being seen as a source of income to the impoverished family that they begin work too young and lose their educational opportunities, and particularly when it comes to birth control, it becomes a problem. Thus, technological advancement, poverty, and migration and child labor is the reason why the population explosion, and this is due to the ineffective management done by the individual or the government.
Human growing population is among the most pressing environmental issues that we are facing now, silently aggravating the forces behind the increased global warming and climate change, the emergence of epidemics and pandemics, the depletion of natural resources as well as habitat loss, and 6 mass extinction. According to the Center for Biological Diversity, the single largest threat to the ecology and biodiversity of the planet in the next decades will be global climate disruption due to the increased human-generated greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Almost all of the scientists that are most active in publishing in the field of climate science have reached a consensus that human activities are causing climate change, despite all the efforts that the people around the world have done to address this issue. Unsustainable human population growth may dampen all those efforts. Thus, the Center for Biological Diversity has concluded that we might not only need smaller footprints but also fewer feet. Besides that, as human population continue to exploit the finite natural resources such as fossil fuels, arable land, fresh waters, and frontier forests continue to plummet. A study by UNEP Global Environment Outlook have found that human consumption has far exceeded the available resources. Each person on the planet now requires a third more land to supply for their needs than that the earth can supply. Our demands are so great that we are now using those resources at 1.7 times the rate than the earth can renew them. According to Global Footprint Network, this rate has continued to increase since 1970, and if nothing is done by 2050, we will require 3 more Earths to supply for our needs. However, we only have one Earth, and the current population are using those resources more than the Earth can provide. We have to remember that every new person is a new consumer, which adding to that demand. Human overpopulation is also one of the causes for the extinction of species. Human beings are currently causing the greatest mass extinction since the extinction of dinosaurs 65 million years ago, at rate 1,000 to 10,000 times faster than normal. If this continues, scientists warn that in the next few decades, half of all plants and animal species will be extinct. All of human activities have contributed to this sad truth. We are now losing 30,000 species per year or 3 species per hour, which is faster than the new species can evolve, compared to the natural background rate of 1 extinction per million species per year. More than that, WHO reported that the growth in the world population combined with the environmental degradation is a major cause to the rapid increase in human disease, which contribute to the malnutrition of 3.7 billion people worldwide, making them susceptible to this disease. All of these impacts happen or connected to the increase in the global world population. Unless something is done, our future generation might not have a home to live in anymore.
Empowering women is the most effective way to reduce fertility rates and achieve sustainable population size that respect the limits of Earth's carrying capacity. The number of years a woman has spent in education is usually inversely correlated with the number of children she will bear in her lifetime. According to Population Media Center (PMC), an NGO working to improve health and well-being of the global population on World Population Day in 2016. The role of women and girls have to play in tackling the problem of overpopulation, as well as the effect this has on the environment. Winda Asjad, a founder of Dandelion Africa, is a registered NGO whose mission to stimulate awareness and involvement in creating sustainable solutions to improve opportunity in education, sexual and reproductive health, and family planning for women and youths in marginalized areas of Kenya, a city of Africa. Dandelion Africa is compassionate and gives professional service to people of all backgrounds and ages. With this empowering women program, the fertility rate could be reduced to achieve a sustainable population size. Promote family planning is also important. Simply educating men and women about contraception have a big impact. When Iran introduced a national family planning program in 1989, its fertility rate fell from 5.6 births per woman to 2.6 in a decade. A similar effort in Rwanda saw a threefold increase in contraception usage in just 5 years. Also, make education entertaining is important. The US-based Population Media Center gets creative to reach women. Its radio soap opera, which feature culturally specific stories about reproductive issues, have been heard by as many as 500 million people in 50 countries. In Ethiopia, 63% of women seeking reproductive health service reporting tuning in the radio. We can see here that overpopulation can be decreased by reducing the fertility rate, and education-based could control this problem. However, the implementation of action plan from the government of each country also important to tackle the issues more efficient.
I'll proceed with the government's actions regarding this issue, which is overpopulation. There are many kinds of efforts that have been done by the government around the world. I want to focus on two countries, which are China and India, as they are known as the countries that have high populations compared to other countries around the world. Let's start with China. China has a population of 1.439 billion, the largest in the world according to 2020 figures from the United Nations. The country was feared that population growth was hindering economic development. So, in 1979, the Chinese government implemented one crucial policy to control its populations, which is a one-child per family policy. It also implemented birth control programs and offered economic incentives to families with fewer children. The one-child policy required married couples to go through a complex bureaucratic process in order to apply for a family planning service certificate once they learn of pregnancies. Once a couple had been granted the right to have a child, then they had to use a contraception which prevent further pregnancies. Now, proceed with India. India is set to overtake China as the most populous country by 2045, and the government have been trying incentives that promote contraceptions, the 2 children per each family norm, and gap between the births of 2 children. A population control bill tabled in the seeking to implement a 2-child policy was tabled in the parliament in 2017, but it is yet to be passed as a law. Activists had approached the country's APEC court to direct the government to act swiftly on the same, but unfortunately, the pleas were dismissed in March 2018. So, it can be seen that the countries have shown positive impacts in order to overcome its issue regarding the population growth, but at the same time also causing negative impacts in various ways. It highly depends on the governments how to overcome the problems arises from the policy implemented in order to control its overpopulations in the country as a whole.
Overpopulation has become more worrying day by day due to variety of factors that causes by human itself. Many initiatives have been taken by government and also from individual effort to overcome the issue. Since people are unaware
of the population explosion and the environmental, social, economic problems that result or increase, they will end up living in famine, pollution, unemployment, and poverty. Awareness is the factor that plays the most dominant role today that will decide the future of upcoming generation and the future of the current people on earth. When people are aware, they are more careful and take smarter decisions. If awareness has spreads, and if people become aware of the consequences and the causes of overpopulation, they will then unite in order to change the factors that have caused overpopulation in the past into becoming beneficial and not harmful for their societies and cultures, thus obtaining a higher standard of living and a better organized and advanced life. As seen earlier, the effects of overpopulation will have a drastic effects on people's life. As an individual and faith, many actions that can be taken to help government to overcome the issue. Firstly, have fewer children. Having a less child will help us to overcome overpopulation issue, as well as helps to reduce individual greenhouse gases emission. Next, for a capable family, which has more financial stability, we can consider adoption. In this situation, we can adopt children from unfortunate family in order to save them from poverty and hunger. Besides, we can and should educate ourselves about overpopulation issues. We need to follow current issue, what had happened around the world. This will help us to know the real situation in overpopulation issue. We also can reduce our personal consumption, such as go vegan, limit flying, share our household with others. We can educate our teenage children about sex and contraception early without any taboos, spread the knowledge and concern among our family and friends, raise awareness about overpopulation on social media. For instance, we can post overpopulation news or overpopulation poster through our Instagram or Twitter, as well as our WhatsApp. Lastly, we can vote for politicians that acknowledge the detrimental impacts of population growth and propose political solutions.